Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the reasons why we disagree with Dave Ramsey. If you are unfamiliar with who Dave Ramsey is and you just stumbled across this video, Dave Ramsey is a financial expert and he is most known for his 7 baby steps. The first one is save $1,000 emergency fund. The second one is to pay off all debts except for your mortgage or home. Third one is to save 3 to 6 months emergency fund. The fourth one is to save 15% of your household income towards retirement. The fifth one is to save for your kids' college fund. The sixth one is to pay off your house early. And the last one is to build wealth and give. I shared the baby steps because I will be bringing them up later. My husband and I do follow Dave Ramsey's baby steps, but not completely, as we do disagree with some of the things that he says. Before I get started, I just want to put this disclaimer out there that everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes and not to be used as financial advice. I am sharing my thoughts in the hopes that someone can relate to what I'm saying, or they can see things from another point of view. I am not saying that you should be following Dave Ramsey's baby steps, and I am also not saying that you should be following Dave Ramsey's baby steps. I don't know your financial situation, and everyone is different, so I cannot advise you on what to do financially. The first thing we disagree with is credit score. Dave Ramsey is a big believer that credit score doesn't matter, so when you're paying off all of your debts as fast as possible too, that it doesn't matter if you hurt your credit score. We disagree because even if you plan on paying off all of your debts and never getting another loan, you still might need a credit score for certain things. For example, you oftentimes need a credit score when renting and almost always need a credit score when buying a home. Buying a house, you might be able to get around this by buying the house in cash. I am not certain of this, but anyone that is currently in debt will not have the funds to buy a house in cash anytime soon. You would have to wait until baby step 4 to even start saving for your house, and then it would take years for you to be able to pay for that house in cash. That is not realistic, so he doesn't mind that you take out a mortgage, but to take out a mortgage, you would need to have a credit score. Some jobs require a credit score, and you might also be able to receive discounts for non-debt related expenses based on your credit score. Dave Ramsey seems to focus a lot on becoming a millionaire and retirement. Up until recently, I liked that he promoted becoming a millionaire because who doesn't want to become a millionaire? Until I realized that he is just referring to retirement. If you were to retire off of $1 million, that would be about $40,000 a year, and I am not taking into account any accrued interest or Social Security or any other government spending, because all of that would change from year to year and from person to person. That being said, $40,000 is a lot, but it's not a lot when you take into account the median and average income in America. The median income is $67,521, and the average income is $53,490. So unless you are making less than $40,000 currently, you would be living off of the same, if not less, once you retire. If I work hard on getting out of debt, I want to be able to go on vacations and live just a little bit nicer than I currently am, instead of waiting until retirement and living the exact same way. The point of getting out of debt is to be able to live better. The third thing we disagree on is having a $1,000 emergency fund to start. We rocked the $1,000 emergency fund for a while, but we kept ending up going more into debt because it just wasn't enough. I think that's an outdated number because of how much everything costs nowadays, and I understand that a lot of people don't have $1,000 in their bank account currently, but that doesn't mean that that's enough for the people that do. Dave Ramsey has stated numerous times that the $1,000 is not meant to be enough. It is meant to want to make you pay off debt as fast as possible. But if you were to have a beater car that does not have a loan and the transmission were to go out, with $1,000, you probably wouldn't be able to pay to replace the transmission. You'd have to scrap that car and then buy another beater with that $1,000, and you'd most likely have issues with that car as well, and you would have to work on saving up your $1,000 again, and the issues might happen before you have the funds. If I were Dave Ramsey, I would save 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund first and then throw all the money at debt. If you were to make minimum wage, you'd be taking home about $1,000 each month. If you were to save 3 months of expenses, you'd have $3,000. So with that, you'd either be able to pay for that transmission, hopefully, or you could at least buy a better vehicle. And if you were able to make more than that or have higher expenses, you would have a higher 3-month emergency fund, and therefore you would be able to buy a better vehicle. You have to put yourself in a safe spot before you do risky things by throwing all of your money towards debt. The next thing is interest rates. Dave Ramsey mentions he doesn't care what the interest rate is. You need to be paying it smallest balance to largest balance. I personally think 0% interest loans should not count towards that. As long as you figure out what the promotional length is and divide that so that way you are able to pay off the balance before the promotional time ends, and that way you don't have to pay interest, I see nothing wrong with that. Without going all finance or math freak on you, I'm going to explain how time value of money can actually help take advantage of this situation with 0% loan. The definition of time value of money, according to Investopedia, states that a sum of money is worth more now than the same amount of money in the future. This is because money can grow only through investing. An investment delayed is an opportunity lost. Now, why I bring this up isn't because you're necessarily going to be investing this money. It is because you can be earning very little interest on that by putting it in a savings account, or simply because of inflation. Businesses actually use this tactic. They want your money upfront or as soon as possible, and they want to wait as long as possible to pay you. During this time, the money that you saved for the large expense can either be sitting in a savings account earning a little bit of interest, or it could actually be used to help in the state of an emergency. My reasoning only goes for the 0% interest. I believe that any loan that has an interest rate should be paid off regardless of the time value of money. Lastly, Dave Ramsey states that when getting out of debt, all you should be doing is working, specifically a second job. I disagree, as not everyone values becoming debt-free over spending time with their family. I would rather be in debt just a little bit longer than too busy working that I'm unable to spend time with a family member, my spouse, or friends before they pass, because you don't get that time back. Also, he makes it sound like getting a second job is super easy, but it's not, especially if you have kids. Some jobs don't allow you to have a second job, and some jobs don't allow you to have time for a second job. You will eventually burn out if all you do is work and have no time to relax. I do agree with the idea that there's always a way to make extra income, but those are usually not as reliable. But you do get to spend time with your family and relax. Overall, I do think Dave Ramsey is a good starting point or baseline, but I don't believe that you need to follow everything that he says to be successful. The main thing about getting out of debt is not adding debt while you're trying to get rid of it at the same time, because that is not going to get you anywhere. You can have multiple goals or be working on multiple things at one time, but if you are working on too many things at once, it's going to feel like you're doing nothing. Let me know in the comments below if you follow Dave Ramsey, if you disagree with anything that he teaches. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you haven't already, so that way you will get to see more of my videos. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!